Hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing? What I'm going to do over the next several videos is deal with transfer orders, or they're also known as internal material transfers. So this is where you're selling product between two business units. And so the first thing I'm going to walk through here is basically how to set this up so that you can get transfer pricing and profit in inventory, which means that this the selling unit will make a profit on this and the buying unit will carry that in its standard or in its cost, right, of the item. So there's a lot to setting up what's known as supply chain financial orchestration, which is a major component of this. But I'm only going to deal with here setting up for the transfer orders themselves. I will link to a PowerPoint that will go through all the steps of setting up supply chain financial orchestration, but we'll touch on some of those here. So the first thing that we need to do to set up these transfers between business orgs is to set up what's called interorganizational or interorganization parameters. So I'm going to go into my super user, go into setup and maintenance, and search for interorg, as it just makes it easy, interorg parameters. I'm in a 25B environment, so we have the old UI here, manage interorg parameters, and the new UI here, interorg parameters. Now, sometimes Redwood or the new UI or UX, depending on how you want to call that, make things a little bit easier. So we're going to go into interorg parameters. This will be the new Redwood screen. And you can see all the froms and tos. So I'm using in our demo environment Atlanta and Manchester, England for this purpose. So we're going to come in here and 002 is actually and hit enter. This is these are all the from and everybody they can ship to. 100, this right here is actually Manchester. So if we take a look at this, we can see what's going on. Now, don't worry about the expense destinations down here unless you're using expense. It doesn't matter. So we can do direct or in transit. I've chosen to do in transit so that it will set up a shipping transaction on the requesting side on the sending side and a receipt transaction on the receiving side. I'm also saying let's send it direct. These are the standard receiving routing options that you have from purchasing. And then it asks what to do with back orders and things like that. I'm just saying default to source inventory order level. So that's all we have to do to set up these parameters. And you need to set them up for both directions, just in case, unless you're never going to go do returns or anything like that, right? Let's say 100, hit enter. And as you can see, I've set up, let's see, I'm going to clear this out. 100. I've set up from Manchester to Atlanta right here. I've set the same parameters so that I can do returns. So that's the first thing is interorganizational parameters. The next thing that we're going to set up is this is my cost accounting user, supply chain execution, and then right here is financial orchestration. So this is where we can see financial orchestrations. I'll actually do a video or two or three on transfer order from inventory, from order management. There's several other places we can do them from, like purchasing, planning. I won't go into planning. That's not my area. But you can do those and you can track those from monitor financial orchestrations up here. But the first thing we're going to do in here is take a look at documentation and accounting rules right here. So these are rules of how we're going to handle the intercompany transactions. And you can set them up various ways. So we'll go ahead and open one up. Let's see, can I do an edit? Probably not. So when you set these up, you're going to set up the buying node. What's the conversion type? Usually, for our environments, it's corporate. But to get over here, these are kind of the more important things. Number one, are we going to track inventory and profit? And are there going to be intercompany invoices? And also, I give it what's the name of the inventory transaction or whatever that you're going to find. So inventory shipments, and then interorganization shipments, interorganization trade receipts. So to get profited inventory, you can select this. You don't have to if you don't ever want to put profit between business units. And then there's intercompany invoices. This is so you can do the automatic intercompany. So what I'm doing here, I can, oh, come on. This is a PowerPoint. I want to show this. So when you're doing transfer pricing has to be between business units. So like the UK business unit, in our case, and the US business unit. You cannot do transfer pricing between organizations that belong to the same business unit. So those would just be normal transfers, right? Whether that's sub-inventory transfer or something like that. But to do transfer orders with transfer pricing, it's going to have to be between business units. So that was the only thing I wanted to show here. And that's what this is about. So the next thing that we're going to set up is transfer pricing rules. This is where are we going to do cost plus or whatever, right? So I've set a couple ones here. This is like cost plus 10%. I have a cost plus 15. I have a document price plus markup. So these are just different ways that you can determine how am I going to come up with my transfer pricing and my profit. And then the next thing is transfer price rules. Oh, I'm sorry, I did transfer price rules. Yeah, it's early in the morning, right, guys? Is set up the flows. So under financial orchestration flows. So these are the different flows that we can have and the different rules that those flows will take. So the couple that I've set up for my execution demos that I'll be doing are these two. So UK to US, US to UK. So it's going to be UK to US predominantly. In my case, we'll take a look at this. It gives me my shipping business unit, my receiving business unit, and then down here, I set up, here's my transfer pricing rule that we just looked at, cost plus 10. Here's my documentation rules, right? What kind of receiving invoice and how's the credit memo going to look? And what are my payment terms, which are immediate, right? You can set up to, all your standard AP type payment terms. And there's other fields here to deal with taxes and things like that, if that's something that you need to deal with. So once these are set up, the last thing we need to do is where is this profit going to be contained as part of my cost of that item? And we do that in cost elements. So we'll go back over here to setup and maintenance, and we're going to go into cost elements. And I have other videos out there that talk through how to set up cost elements. So real quickly here, we're going to search on cost elements. Manage cost elements. And the ones we've set up here, you can see that we have different cost elements for profit and inventory. And the way these have been set up is simply that this is my org number, right? And so what the system will do when there's profit is calculated, it will automatically grab this cost element, put it on the item, and then add the appropriate cost into it. Save and close. And one last thing I want to show over here under cost accounting is when it's all said and done and transactions have run through and you run your cost processor. So we're going to review cost accounting distributions here. As you know, this will take a second to come up. Probably more than a second. So let's see, I'm going to sort this newest, most current date. If you've ever done presentations for clients, you know this is the most infuriating part where the system's sitting things and you've got dead air. Okay. So what we have here are some interorganizational transfers. So just to illustrate the point here about being added to the cost, we're going to go ahead and that's fully costed. So we're going to go view details. I'd love it when that happens too. Okay. So here's my cost information. And you can see here my profit and inventory. So this is my material cost from the sending warehouse. And then here's my profit that's been added to it to give me a total cost on here. So again, what we've done here is we've walked through the basic setups to show profit and inventory through supply chain financial orchestration. I will go ahead over time and I will get different execution setup so you can see how this works. And I will link those as I get them done in the description below. Again, hope this was helpful. Have a great day.